mean, it is interesting. And,
Yeah.
and like, it's actually probably the most interesting thing in the world right now is how does this thing work? And, how much of our life should we switch to be able to respond to the way that it kills people? That ultimately is the most important question in the world right now.
So I think we're doing on all that topic, I think we're doing a pretty good job. And we can get back to that. So I like my little part of the coronavirus of that side was basically fact checking the script. I think it's got seen by like 23 million people now, which is fantastic. And I said to them, because it takes 2-3 weeks at a minimum just to make these videos, because there's a ton of animating, there's voiceover, there's script checking, and I think this is the quickest they've ever gone from like script idea to video out. And it's a team of 15, 16 people. So you can think like they are working 24 hours a day basically for 2 weeks to get this out. And I was like, it's going to, we have to think, where are we going to be in 2 weeks time? What's the best information for people to have in 2 weeks time? So that's why the video, I think, hopefully, we timed it pretty well. You could, if you had some idea of public health policy, you could see that the lockdowns are going to start coming into effect in America, in the UK. I think Italy already had one coming into effect, and so Spain as well. So there was a conscious decision on our part to say, okay, what is the best information to have in 2 weeks' time for people who are going to be starting to be asked to go into lockdown? I think we did a pretty good job there.
So as a person that studied the molecular pathway and you've watched how much people know, you've watched the news, what is something about the disease that people don't realize in the way that it works?
Ooh, I think a lot of people don't realize that there's a huge component of the immune system is actually what causes the damage. The virus has several proteins inside of it that directly interfere with how our immune system communicates with itself. So the immune system is at its heart a communication system. It tells cells, go here, do that. Go here, do that. Go here, be that. It's amazing. Super complicated. And it's even, again, not actually my field. Immunology is not what I do, but I love it. It's amazing. I have such respect for people who can just sit there and like recite off these like interleukin pathways and work out what's going on. It's amazing stuff. But there's at least 3 or 4 proteins in corona-like viruses that interfere with the system. That's one of the symptom of losing your sense of smell or sense of taste. That is a direct result of one of the non-structural proteins in coronavirus. It interferes with either TNF alpha or INF alpha, like interferon gamma. It interferes with the signaling in the immune system, and that leads to a loss of taste.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I had heard that as a rumor, but no indication as to why that's true.
Yeah, it's one of the proteins. We know there's a protein there that interferes with this pathway. It's the same reason when you have the flu, you often lose your appetite. Like that's not because you feel sick. That's not like, oh, I feel groggy, so I don't want to eat. There is literally something interfering with the signaling of your immune system, which downregulates your appetite part of your brain.
Wow. I wonder if we could use that in good times to make it so people don't want to overeat. I
think the problem is you'd also get a fever. Like if you start playing with your brain would start making your body cook itself.
So as a guy that understands the metabolic pathways and has access to scientists, how have you responded? Once you found out the disease was out there, what did you do personally? So in early February, I contacted my family and my friends and said, FYI, this is coming. It's going to be big. Now's the time to prepare for things. Now's the time to get, make sure you have a month's food supply, make sure you have some water, make sure you know where all your health insurance documents are, make sure you have your medication lined up. Like my father had a heart attack a year and a bit ago. So, he's obviously still on medication. It's like, okay, go to the pharmacy now and ask them for 3 months of supply of drugs because you're going to need it. This is the things you need to get done right now. And like I had talking to the podcast, like I told both Miles and Buck this. Buck took it to heart and like basically went out and bought like a survivalist kit. Like he filled up his gas tank. He had food for months. And Miles, being Miles, like it's fine. So like he didn't do anything. And then like 3 weeks later, when the lockdown was happening, I was like, oh, so how are you guys getting on? And Miles was a bit sheepish, like, I didn't listen to you. And Buck was like, everyone thinks I'm a prophet because I knew it was coming. Because all his friends think he was insane because he was going out and doing these things. Like, what worries me the most about that is that it was obvious. It was super obvious to anyone who was looking that this was happening. And people just didn't do anything. And I get why. Like, the last time this happened was swine flu. And again, the media were like, oh my God, swine flu is going to kill us all. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible. But the difference was there were a lot of the actual experts were on the news or the radio saying, it's going to be bad. It's not too bad. It should be okay. And there's maybe a few sensationalist voices saying it's going to be terrible and stuff. But the majority of experts were saying for swine flu or MERS or SARS were saying, it's a problem if this happens, or it's going to be a problem if this happens. In early February, I knew there's a guy who is an excellent epidemiologist called Mark Lipsitch. And I don't know him personally, but I know multiple people I work with directly have met him and know him personally. And they were like, he is not the sort of person to say, I'm going to be quite mean here. He doesn't like to say anything controversial. I don't want that to sound bad on him, but he's very phlegmatic. He's sensible, he's sure of himself, all this sort of stuff. And he was on Twitter saying basically, this is going to be a pandemic. This is going to be terrible. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah, screw it. Like, he's right. Like, this is we have to start taking this seriously. And that was the biggest difference for me. We had people who are, I would consider, sensible experts, incredible experts on the topic saying, this is going to be a pandemic, and they were not listened to. Why? What is the point of having these people, in our world if we're not going to pay attention to what they're saying?
Well, so